In this video, we are going to talk about student loans. I had a viewer hop in my comments and talk to me about why should they be responsible to pay for my student loan if Joe Biden forgives the student loans. And I'm not going to lie, like I understand the perspective. However, you're not going to convince me to not take a bailout when I see big corporations getting a bailout, when I see other countries getting a bailout, when we send money to them, when I see banks getting a bailout, when I see wealthy people being able to lessen the amount that they pay in taxes, because of how they structure things. I'm not hating on anybody else. I'm not getting mad at anybody else for the bailouts that they're getting. And I felt like she was disingenuous when she made the statement in the comments. I'll show you guys the statement here on my channel here in a sec, but I want to go ahead and get into this video about Joe Biden forgiving these student loans here.
Welcome back. They had a 3-year pause on student loan payments, but nearly 19 million of those borrowers haven't paid back a cent since payments resumed last October. President Biden already forgiving $167 billion of debt for nearly 5 million and is still pushing for more. Former Trump economic advisor Stephen Moore joins us now to react. Stephen, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'll look at this. I think 20 million borrowers started paying, 19 haven't. So we're talking about half nearly aren't paying the payments at all. Is this something where the Biden administration, because of their posture on it, just isn't asking them to? How are they able to do this?
And you see, now at this point, I don't believe that 90% of those people are going to pay back those student loans. I talk to people every day that say that they're never going to pay back their student loans, especially since how the administration have talked about the student loans. They've talked about how the service providers wasn't on the up and up with the borrowers. Even when you think about this for a second. When they began to give out student loans to these colleges for us being able to go to college, these colleges, they were able to skyrocket their tuition rates. I mean, I've been at, just in the barber colleges that I work at. You guys know that I'm a barber and I'm a barber instructor as well. And from the time that I went to barber school until the time I became an instructor, the tuition doubled. And I'm talking about that's a time frame of less than 10 years. I have to do the math to see exactly how many years it was, but because the government gives out student loans, the colleges, they take up the tuition because they know they're going to get the money. They know they're going to get the money. It's kind of like Section 8. Like when you get a guaranteed paycheck for somebody attending your school, you can make the tuition whatever price you want it to be. It's almost like you eliminate competition. It's crazy to think that you expect people to pass up on the bailout that they can get when they understand that the tuition was hiked up, when they understand that the loans were somewhat predatory, and it just doesn't look good. And my question to you, for anybody that says that you shouldn't be paying for other people's student loan forgiveness, have you ever not taken advantage of a subsidy? Have you ever not taken advantage of free money from the government? Has the city or the state that you live in ever passed up on a federal subsidy? I guarantee you the answer is no. You wouldn't do it. You expect other people to do it because it's a good talking point. and it sounds fiscally responsible, which I mean, yeah, and I don't know if you want to call it reality, but in a sense, you know, people got a loan. They said that they were going to pay it back, but the loans were bad loans. It's almost kind of like the 2008 thing where people were banks were giving out bad mortgage loans to people that they knew couldn't afford them. And these colleges, they hiked up tuition so much. And then on top of that, the degrees that people get are not even worth the amount of money that they're being charged. And on top of that, society is changing. You know, a lot more people are making money using the internet now, and the the college degrees and the employers don't pay enough to justify the cost of paying all that money into those degrees that people get. So I mean, it's you can have your opinion. I got my opinion, and I don't think anybody's going to change that. You know, nobody's going to get me to accept the fact that I should not take this bailout if they want to give it out to me, especially when I see that they print money all the time whenever they need it. If they could just print money whenever they need it, and you expected me to pass up on a bailout that they want to provide to me and my family, man, screw that.
Well, they don't have congressional approval to do it, and they don't have Supreme Court approval to do this.
Yeah.
So Joe Biden is acting as a dictator to basically forgive people's loans. So that's the first problem of this, is that this is not the under the authority of the presidency. He's the one, by the way, who blames Donald Trump for being a threat to democracy. I would say this is pretty threatening, too. But the other point I would make is, look, we are running a $2 trillion budget deficit, and Biden is throwing away hundreds of billions of dollars for people who should pay their student loans, could pay their student loans, and aren't doing it.
Okay, but look at the contradiction. You said that these borrowers are not paying back student loans. I mean, at this point, you're looking at people who haven't paid back their student loans, you know, 25 years down the line, 20 years down the line, 15 years down the line. And then you say we have a deficit and student loan borrowers should pay back their student loans on this bad debt that they have. It's not meshing. It's not making sense. It's not adding up. And you know, I'm not, I don't want to claim that I'm a Democrat or a Republican. I like to say, you know, it's all the same bird. It's a left wing and it's a right wing, but it's all the same bird. So I see the BS on both sides, you know. And in a capitalistic society, you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first, because that's what everybody else is doing. You know, it's good to think about the society at large. So I'm for that as well. However, you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first, because when you look around, when you look in the political offices, when you look at the corporations, when you look at the employers, all these people are taking care of themselves first. So you will be a fool to not prioritize yourself first, yourself and your family first, for the sake of another purpose, another reason. It just doesn't make sense.
And the question is, why should the cost of that fall on the backs of taxpayers? I mean, I think it's outrageous. I think most Americans do, especially, by the way, people who did pay their student loans and did the right thing. Why should they have to pay for the people who don't?
So why should people have to pay for those? People have to bear the cost of that because it's something that everybody is benefiting from that they didn't have to pay for. I mean, we might have to do the digging and the searching, but I mean, I challenge anybody that's watching right now to see if they're getting some type of benefit, whether it's, you know, women in business receiving grants, whether it's minorities receiving grants for whatever, um, whether it's, I mean, it's a lot of different things that you could think of. Whether it's certain states that are receiving grants from the federal government that you as a citizen of that state may be receiving a benefit for. Other people are paying the taxes for that. We're paying the taxes for those benefits that you are receiving. And the person in my comments said that it's not fair that they will have to pay for our student loans through taxes. I understand your sentiment, sweetheart, but I mean, life is not fair. I mean, at this point, I've been on the planet for over 40 years now, and I've come to learn that life is not fair. So, although we strive for fairness, it's not going to always be fair in life and in everything that you go after. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. Fair is not always what works the best, in some situations. So let's keep going.
As the son of a brick mason who owned his own business, I understand very well the unfairness that people perceive, especially blue-collar workers and people in the trades. But if we take our principled perspective out and say, okay, is it a net positive or a net gain? Are there any market indicators, any economic indicators that show this is helping or hurting our economy?
It's having a very negative effect. First of all, who in the future will ever pay a student loan back, right? If the government's going to keep forgiving people to pay their student loans, then people who are the suckers, frankly, are the people who did the right thing and pay their student loans back. But the other point, I want to go
really quick. I got a question before we finish this video. I want to know you guys' thoughts about something. What do you guys think about this? This is just a theory. I want to see what you guys think about in the comments. Is it possible to make it against the law for employers to discriminate against hiring someone based on the fact that they do not have a college degree? Is it possible? And if so, what would be the outcome of that? Because personally, I think that if employers were not able to discriminate against someone for not having a college degree, then they will be forced to train those people, on their own dime. A college degree wouldn't be mandatory for people to to get opportunities, and the student loan program wouldn't even be necessary. You wouldn't even need a student loan program because people wouldn't have to go to college to be successful. You wouldn't have to go to college to have a future, a stable future. The only reason why you have to go to college is because the employers ask you if you have a college degree. It's almost like a system. It's almost like they're making it that way when they don't have to make it that way. Because I've talked to so many people that are in their profession that don't use the information that they learned in college. They don't use their degree. They're learning on the job. They're learning as they go. And the corporations are bearing the cost of that individual learning on the job. It's almost like an apprenticeship. In different professions, even in barbering, there's some states that don't require you to go to school to get a license, but they allow you to actually get on the job experience by working in the barbershop and working under another barber under an apprenticeship program. And after so much time of working under that barber, you are now qualified as a licensed barber. So why couldn't that be done throughout the entire corporate America so that the student loan program wouldn't even be needed? It's almost like the colleges kind of pushed the student loan program. They knew they were going to benefit. They knew that they were going to be able to hike up the prices because they were getting guaranteed money. So it's predatory. That's straight predatory. And now you expect the people, and this is really the first generation like of millennials. Millennials are the first generation to experience the student loan debt and the predatory lending and the hiked up college tuition rates in our country. The millennials are the first generation to experience that. So this is a conversation that we need to have for our future generations down the line. Are we going to continue to implement the student loan program? So we already see that it doesn't work. We see that it doesn't work. We see what's happening 20 years down the line from when it first started, 20, 25 years from when it first started. It doesn't work. The student loan program doesn't work on a mass scale. Now, there are exceptions out there, and people, individuals make it work for themselves. But I'm talking about on an aggregate scale, on a large scale, the majority of people, for the whole entire society, the student loan program, it doesn't work. That's the reason why we're talking about student debt forgiveness. But the only reason why we have it is because employers are allowed to mandate that you have to have a degree in order to work at their place of employment. And the student loan, the degrees, we see that they're not as valuable as they used to be. So the value of the degree is actually going down. The more people that receive degrees makes the degree less valuable. That's the reason why people are on a job taking side jobs and trying to become a content creator while they're working at their place of employment, because they see other opportunities out there. Let me know what you guys think. Should we make it against the law that corporations can discriminate against hiring someone based on the fact that they do not have a college degree? And if that passed, do you think that would eliminate the need for the student loan program?
Back to this. Our country is going bankrupt. We don't have hundreds of billions of dollars to pay off in student loans. If there's a crisis in student loan payments, the universities that have billions and billions of dollars of endowments,
absolutely,
why don't they use their endowment money to pay off the student loans? Why should taxpayers have to pay for this?
When the liberals are already heavy-handed in regulation, you think they'd be trying to make college tuition cheaper, maybe regulate that. I'm not.
See what I tell you? They took those college rates up. They trying to see if they can get the endowments to cover the student loans, because the colleges have been winning. The colleges have been, quote unquote, unfairly winning. So if you want to say it's not fair for you to have to pay somebody's student loans through taxes, you should also consider it's not fair that the colleges increase college tuitions the way that they did because they were getting free money. See what I'm saying?
I'm saying that's what they need to do, but you think they would at least go in that direction. Instead, they just want to spend our money. I want to move on to a separate topic here that's almost as outrageous, if not more. And so what we have here is we have the country of Denmark imposing a tax.
All right, so I just wanted to come to you guys with that video because I had someone in the comments and you know, I don't want to say they rubbed me the wrong way, but maybe I rubbed them the wrong way, and they may not get my perspective, and that's fine. That's okay. But I'll be interested in knowing what you guys think. Let me know in the comments if you got any value from this video. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe to the channel, and also make sure you check the description for the link to my mastermind community if you guys want to tap in with me. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.